you're starting to get acidic. And look at your pH level. You're right at the bottom, 6.5. Isn't that crazy?
I didn't think to check my coolant or brake fluid on my 2-year-old Jeep Gladiator, but Ecodiesel Owners Canada did, and I couldn't believe the results. And it's not just my truck. They're saying that it's almost all of the ones they're testing. So I got 34,000 kilometers on this thing right now. I don't know what that is in miles. That's like, what, 8 miles?
14 Eagles, 34 medium meat lever pizzas.
Check it out, guys. Get it tested. This is what I love about Ecodiesel Owners Canada. They don't just throw out things at you. They're constantly testing everything.
Your brake fluid's got to be done.
And my brake fluid needs to be done. Kevin, what do I got to do to fix my Jeep?
We're going to do a coolant flush and a brake fluid flush.
They also recommended sending out my oil for testing. That came back with really positive results, so we won't be addressing that one in this video. But what you're about to see is absolutely mind-blowing. Kevin took the time to show me the importance of doing this exact maintenance. Okay, so if you have an Ecodiesel, and I don't even think this is just Ecodiesel related, I actually think that, because the coolant is the same in the gassers as well, right? The brake fluid, I'm assuming, is the same as well. So these guys know everything about everything, especially with these motors and with these Jeeps. They check the fluids, and my brake fluid is done, and my coolant is also done. Check this out. So you're saying that's supposed to be clear?
Yeah, I'll show you the difference when we're done here.
Okay.
I'll show you a side by side. So that's what we took out. If you want to look inside. Pretty nasty, huh? So look at the difference between the two of those.
That's crazy. What does that mean? Like, other than color?
Yeah, so the inherent nature of how brake fluid works is it pulls moisture in the system, right? So brand new clear like this, zero moisture in the fluid. This is moisture in the fluid. So it's doing what it's supposed to do. Well, that's the reason why your caliper seize up, right? That's the reason why your brake lines rot out, because all that moisture is sitting in the fluid that needs to get out of there, right? So the other inherent nature is with that moisture in there, you start rusting inside the calipers, right? That rust just settles in there. You're not flushing it out, and it just builds up and builds up and builds up. Your brakes go down, you squish all that out when you go do your next brake change. You've pushed all that rust and dirt and everything back all the way through your system.
Gotcha.
There you go, right? So
how often should it be done?
I would do this personally at least once a year.
Oh, right.
Bare minimum every 2 years. Bare minimum. Bare minimum. Don't even think about mileage, think about time.
Time.
Right? It's easy for me to say I work here, I just do it every 6 months.
Yeah.
But you saw how quickly it happened, right? It doesn't take long to do that on your driveway.
Right.
If you had 2 people, you just need somebody stepping on the brake. You don't need a special machine like what I have here, but
yeah, crazy.
There's the proof, right? So
yeah. With the brake fluid cleaned out, it was time to move on to the coolant. And this is what I found the most concerning. I'm no mad scientist, but acidic coolant with an aluminum motor sounded scary to me. Again, Kevin took the time to explain and confirm exactly what I feared.
So this is a thermostat housing off of a Camaro, but this is just for visualization. This is made of aluminum, and you can see if you zoom in here, all that eroded, little pits and everything. And then here on the ceiling, see this? These little pits? That's what happens when your coolant gets acidic. It starts eating away the aluminum, which is a softer metal. And that's what happens with this. So your EGR coolers, your heads, everything that's aluminum inside the motor is gonna start pitting like that when you have coolant in there over time, right? And diesels also have what's called cavitation. Every time that cylinder explodes, there's energy being released. On a microscopic level, the water molecules in the coolant, boom, little air bubbles, okay? That releases a tiny amount of energy, like it's basic science, right? Energy is released. It's a very small amount, but constant. That pits. It's called cavitation. Google it. Look it up, guys. It'll cause all this pitting. So in the older diesels, you would actually have to add an additive to the coolant to stop cavitation, right? Wow. The newer stuff doesn't do it as much. So let's say you get acidic coolant, right? Let's say mine's already acidic. Yep. Now I'm changing it. Yep. Will it stop this? Like if this has already started happening, will it stop it from happening? It'll stop it from happening. Okay. Yeah. You're never going to see it this bad. Remember, this is off a 40-year-old car, right? Which has been sitting for 20 years. So like, that's just a visual example of the extreme that's going to happen. But when you start seeing on like the second gen, the old Dodges, where their EGR coolers were leaking, that's why, right? coolant. The EGR cooler is not doing what it's doing. Your user air, not driving the truck properly, not getting it warm. It starts eating away. Eventually you get that pinhole, sprays that coolant mist into the motor. Motor catches on fire. Everybody's heard the horror stories about them. That's just one contributing factor to it.
Wild.
Crazy, eh?
So, I had a Ram Ecodiesel, second generation, before the Gladiator, and I actually did have a leaky EGR at 60,000 kilometers. That's actually when I decided to get in contact with the OC for the first time. To fix these problems.
I'm going to give a shout out to the William Stocks in Cleveland, Ohio. You guys are a wealth of knowledge. If you are in the Ohio area, you go see this man, look him up, source him out. He is like us. He is about quality before quantity, and he's a master tech for Dodge, Jeep, Ram. He stumbled on this issue just by simple pH strip tests. We sell them. You can buy them online. They're probably the easiest and most accurate way to test your coolant at home or as a DIYer. And this is going to show you where the reserve alkalinity sits, the pH level, its freeze point, all that fun stuff. And that's what kind of gives you a detection system of how much life does this coolant have left? How acidic has it become? And that acidity level is what causes internal components to fail, like EGR coolers and coolant bypass tubes under the intake manifold and the coolant bypass tubes that go around the back of the engine. They get corroded from the inside out and they crack and they start leaking. Bad coolant is bad for the engine. Change the coolant frequently. It's not a hard thing to do, or bring it to a professional. They can do it real quick for you too. We are putting in the AMSOIL in the vehicles that we're running here as a test. We're seeing decent results. I'm not gonna say it's the best results we've seen. There's a brand called Xerox out of the USA. I can't remember the color of the ball. I think it's gold or blue, I can't remember, but it's showing extremely good results. So that would be one to source out and look for. Should you want to do a full coolant flush, right? You got to drain everything out and pressure fill it so that you're seeing the pink come out until it turns a new color, right? So that's the way to do that. We offer that service, right? You're in and out within an hour or two. Obviously, we got to let that coolant cool down a little bit. Don't want to burn our tech's hands, but yeah, it can be done here at any time.
So there you have it. I actually have a jug of Mopar coolant, and it says right on it, 10 years. And there is just absolutely no way that this will last 10 years. I'm at 2 years with my truck, and it was already going bad. Off camera, I had a conversation with Chris about how quick it goes bad, and he says right out of the bottle, a lot of them are right at baseline. So there's just absolutely no way they're going to be lasting that long. I do have the AMSOIL in here now. It's supposed to be a little bit better. We don't have the one that he mentioned yet. But these are all things that you really got to keep an eye on if you do plan on keeping your rig long term. EGR leaks are extremely common. As mentioned, I had it on my second gen Ecodiesel Ram. Brake fluid to me seems like a no-brainer. It's just something I haven't done. And if you're local to Maple Ridge, British Columbia, Ecodiesel Owners Canada is equipped and ready to take you on and get these things done for you. Until next time, go away, get lost, and unwind.
Let's go! Life's